I'd like to formally apologise to the OFGEM staff for losing my rag in a background briefing just now and saying its changes are a, quote, disgrace that sells consumers down the river, unquote. I should have behaved better. My eye as institutional, not individual. It was inappropriate. Now, this is, I think, what is known as a backhanded apology. Formally, he's saying sorry for having been rude to bosses at Britain's energy regulator. In practice, the real significance is to let his 1.5 million followers know what he actually thinks of OFGEM.
And then we get to the market stabilisation charge. Now, what the proposal for this charge was, that we vehemently objected to at the time, is if wholesale prices drop by more than 30%, if you were to switch to a new firm away from a price cap, so these aren't people who've agreed to lock in, these are absolutely everybody on the market, the new firm would have to pay the old supplier 75% of the hedging difference. Now, that was pretty bad. But then today they announced they're changing it. And I thought, good. It's no longer it has to be 30% below. It now only has to be 10% below for this to kick into effect. It's no longer they have to give them 75% of the difference. They have to give them 85% of the difference, pretty much all of it. And this was to prevent consumers from the effects of harmful competition. By harmful competition, they mean cheaper prices. To prevent consumers suffering from the ill effects of having cheaper prices. What that announcement does is effectively curtail any hope that if wholesale prices drop, firms will be able to offer cheaper deals for consumers who are able to switch. I was absolutely flabbergasted. There's two ways to run an energy market. You either embrace competition or you nationalise or you regulate prices. I'm pretty agnostic as to which way we do it.
Right.
But if we're going to try and have a system as we do, which is based on competition, we've just had our regulator who's charged with helping consumers in competition effectively kibosh any hope of cheaper prices. What they haven't done is look at the standing charge that they've inflated. That means people who try and cut their bills by reducing usage only have a minimal effect. They haven't lowered the prepay customers, the poorest in the country, their price cap to be the same as everyone else. They haven't lowered the charges for those who pay by monthly bills, which are the most expensive and include many elderly people, to be the same as direct debit. It is an absolutely flabbergasting. Now, I was wrong to swear at them in a meeting and to call them a disgrace, because that was unprofessional when talking with individuals. But institutionally, it is a disgrace. They are selling consumers down the river. And I call on the politicians of all parties, do not let the regulator do this. Your regulator, charged with protecting consumers, is instituting policies in the middle of a cost of living crisis where people may well die because they cannot afford to pay their bills, that effectively restrict competition and keep prices artificially high when it is unnecessary to do so. And that cannot be right. And that is the reason I lost my rag this morning. I have more reading to do, but that is my initial reading of the situation.
So by sort of packaging it as a little bit of a scandal story, whilst also apologising so he doesn't appear as someone who is gratuitously rude or aggressive or discourteous, he's able to claim some broadcast time and some newspaper inches to take this story, which would otherwise be quite technical and quite marginal and could fly under the radar, and making it something which can grab people's attention. And by the way in which he is talking about it, by drawing out the full significance of it, that because of this cost of living crisis, people being unable to heat their homes, people may well die, that there are alternatives that could have been pursued, that there's something politicians could do and they really should take action. He, I think, has played an absolute blinder in identifying a way to kind of game the media by using his own social media and taking something which would otherwise have been, potentially ignored and putting it slap bang in the middle of the news agenda. So great work, Martin Lewis.